Hey guys, Garrett McLaughlin here, and in this video, I want to talk about 4 mini band exercises that you are not doing. Now, what I see from a lot of runners, general population, doesn't matter, is we're kind of in the habit of doing the same mini band exercises, and that is either a lateral band walk, a straight leg lateral band walk, or some kind of forward or backward monster walk, right? Those are the most traditional that you'll see from physical therapy that people then took out from that environment and put into their strength training programs. In my opinion, there are a lot better mini band exercises out there, and I want to show you a few of those today. So if we start just by simply getting down to the ground, and I think where the mini band has the greatest benefit is strengthening the hip flexors, right? This is a very neglected area. We're so focused on quads, hamstrings, glutes, we neglect the hip flexors quite a bit, and it's a common area that you'll see is weak, overly shortened, overly lengthened. I mean, we have a lot of issues when it comes to the hip flexors. So first one here is going to be this supine hip flexion resisted marching. And what that means is I'm just going to put the band around the feet. Usually I do this with shoes on, but just for this video to do all the exercises properly, I took mine off. With shoes on, the band doesn't slide as much and it grips into the shoe a little bit more. But all we're going to do here is if we come up, engage the core, so start with exhale, rib cage down, squeeze the abs. Now all I'm going to do is alternate one leg at a time. So you can think of what's happening here. That moving leg is stretching the band's pulling into the foot, the hip flexor is holding this leg at 90 degrees. And then I'm going to come back. So I'm alternating. Again, the longer I hold, the harder I can make it, or the more repetitions I do, the harder I can make it. I want to make sure my core is staying controlled. I'm not going into an arch position as I go through this one, but very simple and effective drill to work on core stability and also strengthen the hip flexors. Okay? I can turn this into, if I wanted to turn it into I don't have much room above me, a dead bug exercise, opposite arm and opposite leg, just to work on a little bit more of that core stability component. But that is the first exercise. So supine band resisted, hip flexion resisted marching. Again, long name for a very simple exercise. And then from there, the next one would actually be a hip bridge with marching. So why I like this one a lot, and you'll see I'll give it to a lot of my runners, they probably have a very love-hate relationship with this one, is we're getting, as we come up into the hip bridge, we're getting that glute, hamstring, lumbar strength component of driving the hips up into extension, which is super important. But then as we go into this marching position, that's when I get that opposite side hip flexor. So as I drive up, I want to march, opposite arm and leg, and this is where usually having shoes on is a little bit better because that band holds, okay? But I'm driving one hip into the ground, hip down to drive the heel into the ground, and the other side hip flexor is coming up to work on that flexion. If we think about running, right, as you come through and push through, what's happening? We're extending here throughout this stance leg, late stance phase, as the other leg is going into flexion before you strike the ground. It's a very specific exercise to running, the hip bridge with band resisted marching, okay? Usually with any of these, anywhere from 8 to 12 repetitions per side, doing 2 to 3 sets. Then from there, let's show you this one first. So you can see I have this band underneath this weight. Weight has to be fairly heavy. Sometimes it can be the leg of the table. You can have a significant other hold it down, but we're working on specifically, because I see a lot of people shifting as we go into single leg stance. If you look at that foot and see what happens automatically to me, as the weight shifts away from that big toe, which is very common, you'll see the big toe, you'll see the base of the big toe lift off the ground, that arch start to elevate, and people usually lose stability that way. So we can use this band for more of a feedback, from more of a feedback standpoint. All we're trying to do here is if we stretch out the band just slightly, so there's a little bit of tension on there, I don't want to place it under my big toe. As you can see here, I'm actually going to lift my toe so you can see where I'm placing it. It's under the base of the big toe or the ball of the foot. So now there's tension on the band, it's being held down. Under the base of the big foot, I'm going to really kind of spread my toes, put them down, and then all I'm going to do is come up into single leg stance. I can look at the position of the pelvis, I can go hands above the head to increase the challenge. As soon as I lose my position, see what happens, right? So this is a self-limiting exercise. Now we're trying to teach, for those of you that maybe land too far or stay too laterally on the foot, as you run, collapse into the medial arch, you just have poor balance and stability overall. Just doing anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds when in terms of single leg balance like this, make sure we're placing, see, you lost it again. Make sure we're placing good pressure into the base of the big toe, because we want base of the small toe, base of the big toe, and heel to be this tripod, a triangular shape. So this helps really get pressure onto the base of the big toe, widen that foot out to work on good stability and control. So very good retraining exercise. And then the last exercise that you're probably not doing is the lateral toe taps. One of my favorite movements. I probably give it to every single one of my runners. Really helps from a stability standpoint, and is really in good contrast to the band walk variations that I showed in the beginning that majority of people are doing. But if we think about this position, I'm in a small, again, mini squat, hip hinge position. All I'm going to do is tap out to the side and come back. So now, instead of working on strengthening and moving into that position, I'm working on stability and balance throughout the stance leg. So as I'm in this position, I'm stepping out to the side. The band is trying to tug at my knee and pull me inward. You can see what happens automatically. Knee comes in, arch collapses. I'm losing stability at these joints. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to promote good alignment of the leg, just lightly tap out to the side and come back. Automatically, I feel the hip, quad, all these muscles here, foot having to stabilize to keep me in a good position. And that's all that is, right? It's just working on single leg stability, not necessarily the band walk exercise, which will strengthen the hips pretty well, but how do you stabilize and promote good alignment of the leg? You do the lateral toe tap. So those are 4 mini band exercises that majority of people are not doing. I hope you add these to your program in some way, because they can have huge value to you, whether you're a runner, regular person, really trying to work on promoting hip flexor strength, glute strength, single leg balance and stability, alignment of the leg. All those things together can be really huge outside of doing regular traditional band walks. So I hope you found value in this video today. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them below. Have a great day.